It's just Twitter drama. It's whatever. No one really cares that much. Do you guys remember the whole thing with Shy Lily slash Small Lola? Did we learn absolutely nothing from this? It seems like maybe it happened again. Disclaimer, do not send hate to anyone. We don't do that here. If you do that here, you're stinky. I'm having a hard time with words today. My brain fog is really, really bad. So I'm gonna try and speak as clearly and concisely as possible, but I stumble over my words a lot, so I apologize. So I saw this a couple days ago. What is this, you might ask? This is a VTuber reveal. And when I first saw it, I'm gonna be completely honest, man, I thought it was Powdur. Another disclaimer, I do know Powdur. If I say things, just know that this might be coming from a place of bias. I consider Powdur an acquaintance of mine. We've only ever had like positive interactions. I think that she's a really cool person. I'll just put that out there. Another thing I will say is that I'm an artist and live 2D rigger. I do this stuff basically for a living. I design models for people. I create models for people. So I feel like I know what I'm talking about here, okay? When the Shy Lily Small Lola thing came up, I called that bull out like a month before anyone else did, okay? I called that out. Everyone was defending it and being like, no, 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 Small Lola is doing her own thing, blah, 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 blah. I came at that from the perspective of an artist, okay? This is another case, I think, where people just kind of gotta listen to artists, which I'm not saying that if you have a certain opinion on this that you're not valid, but you should listen to me, okay? I'm her. You should listen to me about this. Just joking. People can be artists out there and also have shite opinions. There's gonna be a lot of VTubers who are gonna be talking about this. You're gonna click on their pages. You're gonna see that they're not artists. You don't have to listen to them, okay? I'm just joking. I'm just joking. You guys can form whatever opinion you want on this. Basically, when I first saw this, I straight up thought it was Powdur, you guys. Powdur is, I consider her a big VTuber. Some people might consider her a medium VTuber, some people whatever, but I believe that Powdur has brand recognition in the VTuber sphere. People see her model and they're like, oh, that's Powdur. And I will go into why I had just like that knee-jerk reaction. Well, we can go over her design and stuff in a little bit. Then Powdur put out a statement on it. I feel like that's a very tame statement. Like, from my perspective, she was expressing her disappointment. And dude, I think that's valid. Like, plenty of people were messaging Powdur about it. People were saying, hey, this design looks really similar to you. If so many people have that knee-jerk reaction, then it's not crazy, right? It's not crazy. Then Lily responded with a Google Doc. So let's see what they said. Did she say this was a year ago? Yeah, contacted by Powdur last year. So a lot of things can change in a year, dude. A lot of things can change. So let's look at this. Powdur message. It looks like Powdur messaged first. This was the concept art that Lily posted, which is also pinned on her Twitter page. She said, hey Royalty, which I guess Lily's name was changed. It was Royalty before. Hey Royalty, I don't want this to come across hostile by any means, but I have concerns with your design combined with the lore Damon. Then their response to Powdur was, when I was coming up with a new design that I felt fit me more, I just knew I wanted an elf with long white hair, since that's always what I have loved. I wanted to add horns because I thought they look cute and my favorite color is purple. This is what we came up with. In fact, Cherry came across someone in her stream chat when she was finishing my reference sheet that thought she was drawing you in a new outfit. She was confused at first and was worried, so then brought it up to me the next day, and I felt super bad and discouraged that I felt like I was copying. After we talked about it, we truly felt my design was original enough to move forward with it. I never meant any disrespect or ill will towards you. If you need proof of Cherry and mine's DMs, I will gladly pull from them. Okay, I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I'll save it until the end. I don't mean to sound rude, but I don't believe you about the motivation behind your lore. I just want to avoid these types of messages from mutuals, and I feel uncomfortable knowing you knew of me during the design process and are moving forward. A specific way to spell demon and then tack on elf. For my lore, it's a play on words and a nod to programmers because I look like a demon and I am a computer program. It wouldn't make me anxious if you looked more different or perhaps use different lore. The similarities did catch the eyes of others, so if anything in the future, if there are comparisons, I hope they won't cause too much trouble. I wouldn't be so nervous if the design was so similar or the lore, but both of them at the same time raises my suspicions because my character and lore means a lot to me. Is there any room to wiggle on either of those things? So Powdur's kind of reaching out and being like, hey, there's similarities between us. Is there any way that you could consider like changing either of those things? Then back over here, Lily is explaining her side and she's saying, look, I worked with my artist with this and this is the direction we want to take it. That's it, basically. Okay, so it looks like she messaged Cherry. So here she is. Lily's explaining what she wants for Cherry to turn into reality. People will be like, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then you as the artist, it's your job to kind of smush those things and make it come to life. Anyways, continuing with this, she then said, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I really don't know what else to tell you. And I don't mean to sound rude either, but I really don't appreciate basically being called a liar. If you don't want to believe me, then don't. But as you can see, after I gave my description of what I was wanting, that is the first design that was presented to me and I loved it. There were no references to you at all and you weren't even part of the design process. I'm really sorry, but I'm telling the truth. My model is already in the works, so I really would rather not change my design because I still feel... Oh, it got cut. I really don't care that much about lore and I never had any to begin with, so I am more than willing to change Damon to Demon if that's more comfortable for you. I'm sorry that might not be the answer you want to hear. I never wanted to cause drama or causing any issues, so I hope me removing that aspect of my design lessens your worries. It feels like they're kind of tackling the lore stuff, which I feel like in the VTuber sphere, everyone has like the same lore. You know, I'm not saying that lore isn't important. If it's important to you, then it's important to you, right? There's a lot of writers in the VTubing sphere who work really hard to make a whole experience for their VTuber, right? Like that's part of their thing. They like to role play it out and whatever. So it's really important to them. But there's so many similar lores, you know what I mean? It's like, that's a shark girl, that's a cat girl. Literally half of existing VTubers have horns / are demons. Be original or you'll be accused of stealing. I'll talk about this more when we go into discussing design things, because I want to break this down from like an artist's point of view as well. It saddens me that both of you and the designer moved forward when speculation of looking a lot like me was raised, and you both convinced yourself that it doesn't matter. I would not have known about this until a mutual had reached out about this closely related. That's Powdur, but in a different outfit is something I would be offended by as a person trying to create a unique OC in such a niche area like VTubing and paying money for it. It is my fault for not voicing my anxieties earlier. I will take responsibility. I thought it would be something to move past, but seeing my VTuber siblings and friends go through similar stuff and them growing the strength to say, hey, you know what, that is not okay and I feel weird, help me grow some more balls. I'm going to follow the advice of my peers and friends that if in the future I have to make a statement disconnecting us like Shoto did when he ran into this issue, I may. It by no means will be aggressive, but just something that could happen in the future if others take notice. Thank you for listening to my concerns. I don't really have much else to say. I mean, she kind of said this was gonna happen. What do you think about it? Powdur kind of mentioned like, hey, if people start bringing this up, I am gonna make a statement about it in the future. Basically just told her like, you guys can do what you want. I feel disappointed, but I'm gonna talk about it in the future if it does come up. Powdur did message Cherry. Again, Cherry is Lily's artist. This might be kind of a hot take, but I really think this is on the artist. And I really like Cherry. This is what Cherry said regarding it as well. Regarding the recent issue, all I can say is we tried our best to end on amicable terms, and I am incredibly disappointed in Powdur for making it look like we blew her off when she herself is the one who closed the case months ago. She purposely left this info out when she decided to publicly vent about it so she can appear more as the victim. In my opinion, that speaks volumes. So there's this DM that I guess Cherry sent to Powdur. I just wanted to quickly message you as I have recently started on Royal's model, and I remember showing it to you to make sure there are no similarities that could potentially make you feel uncomfortable. I have attached her whip. If there's anything that concerns you, please don't hesitate to let me know. Okay, as an artist, I feel like if you are already reaching out to someone to be like, hey, is this gonna be an issue? It's already an issue. In the VTubing sphere, branding is so important. You saw what happened with Shy Lily and Small Lola, and did you notice that Lily didn't say anything about it? Because if you say something, you're damned. If you don't say anything, you're also damned, and people just assume you don't care. She was literally like, people copy me all the time and I can't say anything about it because when I do, everyone dogpiles me and they're like, you don't own this this piece of design. You don't own this. Like, she's gonna get dogpiled. So it seems like Powdur was sort of wanting to avoid that whole thing as well, where she expressed her concerns and then Lily was like, no, I really like my design. I'm not changing it. And so what can Powdur do at that point other than be like, I don't want to be associated with you guys anymore? Of course, she's expressing her frustration in it. I think that that's totally fair. Look, the Shy Lily and Small Lola case, I think is different because Lola was a legitimate grifter. She was a bad character that had been doing this sort of thing for a while. Lily, I don't think that this is the same case. It's clear that Lily just really loved her design and she wanted to keep it. And I think that that's fair. Do I think that's a good decision when it comes to brand recognition in the VTubing sphere? No, absolutely not. And I feel like the artist should have brought this up, okay? Again, this is why, like, as an artist, I'm gonna critique this a little bit, okay? I really think this was on Cherry. Like, and I love Cherry's work. Like, I've been following Cherry for a long time. I really, really love her work. Do not get me wrong. They're not copying. Cherry isn't copying anything like that. They just have similar proportions. Okay, look, so this is one of Cherry's VTuber models. This is Kiru's model. Can you see how there's some similarities in the proportions of the faces? Like, the eyes are set directly in the middle of the face to make it look very baby, even a little bit lower than directly in the middle of the face. They have a lot of space at the top, and the reason people do that is because it's similar to babies, which makes it look cuter. You reduce the space between like the mouth and the chin, and when you do that, they have a more doll-like appearance. So both Cherry and Kiru lean towards this very, very doll-like, cutesy sort of proportions. Even their body proportions are similar as well, where they go for very small shoulders. Again, nobody's copying anything. People are allowed to have similar art styles. I'm just trying to explain from an artist's point of view how these are similar. Kiru and Cherry just happen to have similar proportions with their models, which is cool. They both go for doll-like. They both go for soft and cute and small. And I think that's just what kind of has hurt Lily in this situation. But as you can see, like, Lily's character sheet was actually a lot more mature. Basically, the hourglass figure was leaning a bit more on the realism side instead of the doll-like side. Can you see how the proportions are different? In the character sheet, she has a very balanced hourglass shape. Like, the shoulder and the hips line up almost perfectly, right? She got them 30, 22, 30. When you hire an artist, you want it to be in their style, right? It looks great. It's a beautiful model. It's just that because of these small changes and similarities in art styles, unfortunately, she comes off as looking like a Powdur dupe, which is not fair. This was like a year ago. The whole thing with the purple going into red, I feel like if they just kept that, it would have helped a lot more. That's Powdur's model. You can see they have like the similar silhouette with the ears. Their proportions are similar. The purple horns, they are also similar. When you don't take these steps to make your client as recognizable as possible, I feel like you have failed your client. But again, I don't have the whole story. I don't understand why all of these things got changed, because I feel like if you added in the red, it makes more sense to try and be as unique as possible. See, and then like Powdur's name is brought up today. I just realized there's a VTuber that might have a similar color palette to yours called Powdur. I wonder if you know her. It's basically the white purple colors and the horns. I thought I would let you know just in case you feel a little uncomfy with that. So see, that's what I'm saying. It's like you have to just talk to your client about it and be like, look, there's a VTuber in this sphere who is a much larger creator. Your ass is gonna get mobbed if I don't change some things. Exactly. Like, you have a responsibility to your client to watch out for them like that. It's just Twitter drama. It's fine. Things are gonna be fine. Everyone's gonna be okay. So Powdur did post this as a response. This is May 15th, 2023. Man, the last thing I want is for someone to mistake me for Powdur, I guess, which might be unavoidable. It's not. It's not. I didn't once think about her design or anything while we were creating my OC. I just love white-haired elf girls, and my favorite color is purple. I don't want to feel like I'm copying. These pieces by themselves, it's totally fine, you know? Having a white-haired elf ears, having purple as your favorite color, that's fine. It's just the direction that everything else took with it that ended up making it look like Powdur. This looks like this was the original look that Lily was going for. Elf ears, white hair, red eyes. That was literally my first design, dude. Yeah, you can see there's plenty of overlap in the VTubing sphere. I had red eyes. I had elf ears. I had a crown. There's a lot of overlap. There's a billion pink-haired cat girls out there in this world, and it's fine. What is super, super important when it comes to character design is recognizability. I don't know if that's the proper word for it. People like to get on things like color palette and clothing. Those things are less important than silhouette. Like, look at me, right? I'm literally a VTuber amalgamation. I have the little flesh fang. I got elf ears too. I have white hair. By themselves, these elements are not unique. If you can add your own spin and creativity to it, then they start to become more unique. Again, I think that this is just a misstep on the potentially client, but also artist side. And I'm not saying that it's Cherry's fault for having a similar style to Kiru or having similar proportions in their art style to Kiru. It's just that it just sort of came to be. You were allowed to be purple. You were allowed to have elf ears. You were allowed to have white hair in the VTubing sphere. I think that if you just add a couple different things to the silhouette, like you add, I don't know, maybe break off the horn, again, add the red tips, add more red throughout the design overall, add a bit of different hair shape. I really think that you could make this design more unique than how most people in the VTubing sphere are gonna see it, which is just, that's a powder dupe. Like, it's really on the artist here to try and find a balance between making your client happy and also knowing that this is your expertise. Even now, there are people dogpiling on it and being like, I don't see any similarities. Which I think you're just tripping balls. You're just lying at that point, man. You're just lying. Even back when the Shy Lily Small Lola thing was going on, people were also in denial and being like, I don't see it. It's different enough. Blah, 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 blah. You can disagree with me. You can agree with me. Whatever.
I think you explained it well. It is an unfortunate situation. You can have all these aspects in your design, but there are ways to add your
own spin to it. Correct. That is all I will say in the matter. I hope that I was able to talk concisely. I hope that things can be resolved amicably. I don't think that Lily should be getting dogpiled this or anything like that. I don't think Cherry should be getting dogpiled. I don't think anyone should be getting dogpiled for this. Like, it's not serious enough that anyone's going to jail or anything. Somebody fumbled here a little bit, and that's okay. Just change it a bit.